You know, there's nothing scarier than when your child is sick and you're not sure why. Today, we're going to talk about a really serious condition, one that can be tricky to spot, but is so critical to understand. We're talking about increased intracranial pressure in children. We'll walk through all the signs you need to look for, from the really subtle ones to the most severe.
So, let's start with a little bit of a puzzle. What could possibly connect a plain old headache with a child who's suddenly and for no reason super irritable? I mean, a lot of the time, it's nothing to worry about at all. But in some cases, these things that seem totally unrelated can actually be the very first whispers of a serious problem.
And that something is what medical professionals call increased intracranial pressure, or ICP for short. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine the skull is a sealed, rigid box. It's not going anywhere. Inside, you've got the brain, blood, and fluids, all packed in there just right. But what happens if something, say an injury, an infection, or even a tumor, causes the brain to start swelling? Well, there's no extra space. The pressure inside that box just starts to build, and that's when things can get really dangerous.
Okay, so how in the world do you spot this rising pressure before it becomes a full-blown crisis? The absolute key here is catching it early. Let's break down those first signs, which, honestly, are often super subtle but so critical.
The thing that makes these early signs so tricky is just how easily you could dismiss them. For instance, a headache that's worse in the morning, you might just think they slept funny. Or what about sudden, really forceful vomiting that comes out of nowhere without them even feeling sick to their stomach? That's a big clue. Your child might just be unusually cranky, or they might complain that their vision is getting a little blurry. Or maybe they just seem a bit out of it, less aware than usual. These are all clues that the pressure inside their head might be on the rise.
Now, when we're talking about babies, the signs can be even more subtle. And that's because their skulls are still soft and haven't fully fused yet. You might actually notice that the fontanelle, that soft spot on the top of their head, is bulging or feels kind of tense. Other signs to keep an eye out for are a head that seems to be growing unusually fast, a high-pitched cry that just sounds different from their normal cry, or if they're suddenly having a hard time feeding. And then there's this really specific sign called sunset eyes, where it looks like their eyes are permanently gazing downward.
Recognizing those early signs is just so important. But if that pressure isn't relieved and it just keeps building, the whole situation escalates. We go from a quiet warning to a full-blown, sirens blaring alarm.
And this really shows you just how quickly things can get serious. Those early signs we just went over can give way to symptoms that are way more alarming. A child might become incredibly difficult to wake up, what doctors call a stupor, or they could even slip into a coma. You might notice their pupils are different sizes or that they don't react to light. They could even start having seizures. These are all signs that the brain is under an extreme amount of pressure.
Among all those late signs, there is one particular group of symptoms that is the ultimate red flag. It's known as Cushing's triad, and when doctors see it, they know they are dealing with a critical emergency.
To put it as plainly as possible, Cushing's triad is a sign that the situation has become life-threatening. What it means is the pressure is so incredibly high that it's actually squeezing the brainstem, which is the part of the brain that controls our most vital functions, like breathing and heart rate. In an ER, this is a 5-alarm fire.
So what are the 3 parts of this triad? Okay, first you have a slow heart rate, which is the exact opposite of what you'd expect in a crisis, right? Second, you have high blood pressure with a really big gap between the top number and the bottom number. And third, you have irregular breathing. The pattern is just all over the place. When a doctor sees these 3 things happening together, they know the body is sounding its absolute final alarm.
We've seen how this condition can go from a subtle warning to a massive emergency. So now let's look at how medical teams spring into action to get that pressure back down.
The very first step is to get a crystal clear, constant picture of what's happening inside the brain. This is not a one-time check. We're talking continuous, vigilant monitoring. Teams are doing neurologic checks over and over again to catch any little change in brain function. They're looking with the pupils because the pupils are like a direct window to the brain's health, and you can bet they are watching the vital signs like a hawk, specifically looking for those 3 parts of Cushing's triad. Every single change is noted because it could be a critical clue.
Now, while they're monitoring, the team is also acting and fast. They'll elevate the head of the bed to a very specific 30-degree angle, which helps use gravity to drain fluid and lower that pressure. They make sure the child's airway is totally clear, because a brain with plenty of oxygen is a more resilient brain. The whole environment is kept calm and dark to reduce any stress that could raise the pressure even more. And critically, they use powerful medications, like mannitol, to literally pull fluid out of the brain tissue and bring down that swelling directly. Every single step is a calculated move to protect the brain.
And that really brings us to the most important point of this whole explainer. Time is absolutely critical. Delaying treatment can lead to permanent brain damage or even death. And that's why knowing these signs and acting on them quickly can make all the difference in the world.
So, now that you know the signs, what's next? The real power of this information is in sharing it. How can we make sure that every parent, every teacher, every single person who cares for a child knows what to look for? That's a question for all of us to really think about.